We have Mr. Naushad Khan, who's going to talk to us a book talk. He's going to teach us a whole lot of things. He's going to explain to us about him writing a book, how it started. Believe it or not, I know it started at a very young age, but he's going to tell you about it. He's going to tell you about book care too, how to care for the books. We use books every day. So he's going to tell you more about it and how you can start writing, you know, who to go to, where to go to, you know. So listen carefully. You know, you might just score some points here. Mr. Naushad Khan.
Good morning, boys and girls. Before I go any further, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Naushad Khan, and I'm the author of this book, Race Champ Part 1, The Oval Tar, which, as you can tell from the title, it is the first volume in what is said to be a trilogy. Now, besides being an author, I'm also the founder and director of a company called Multi Marketing. It's a holding company for my various business interests, such as online design and marketing campaigns. I help YouTubers and bloggers alike, and also, incidentally, I have a publishing company under that same wing where I help other fellow authors, such as myself, helping them to get published. Because I know the struggle and how long it took me to get published. 8 long years to get published. But as they say, patience is a virtue, and perseverance and hard work pays off. So my journey started way back when I was 5 years old, and it started at the Musgrave Library. When I was 5 years old, I went to the Musgrave Library with my parents, and they applied for a library card for myself as well as for each of them. Now, we do have representatives here from the library who can confirm what I'm about to tell you, and that is, on a single library card, yes, Sunil Singh is here, on a single library card, you can borrow up to 8 books, which you can borrow from the library for up to 2 weeks. However, if you're not able to finish reading those books in 8 weeks, you can obviously ask for an extension, and they'll gladly give it to you. Now, I was very privileged to be allowed to actually borrow up to 24 books. Between myself, my mom, and my dad's card, I borrow up to 24 books a week, because obviously 8 times 3 is 24. So I borrowed 24 weeks, but I would not need the 2-week period. Within 1 week, I would have read all 24 books, returned them back to the library, only to leave the library with yet again another brand new set of 24 books, which I would take another whole week to read all 24 again. This cycle continued for many years. I've read through the entire junior library that Musgrave Library had to offer. I read through, well, when I was older, I also read through the entire adult library that the Musgrave Library had to offer. So, you know, reading so much and so much, I read both non-fiction books, which obviously expanded my knowledge. It's very important to read non-fiction books. But I also read fiction books, and it was at this young age that reading so much that you finally figure out how a book should be read, how it should feel like, how different characters express themselves when they're speaking in dialogues. And it helps later on in life now that I'm not only a published author, but a publisher as well, where I am taking on other authors and assisting them in getting published, so I know how a book should be set out. But, you know, reading from the age of 5, so many books and so much that my mind on its own just started conjuring up ideas. But you know, when you're 5 years old, you come up with childish ideas. So I grabbed a pencil and a scrap piece of paper, and I would just jot down and scribble down really any idea that just come into my head, whether that was talking dinosaurs, whether it was kids going on voyage to space, you know, and I was really into detective books at the time. I remember my favorite books growing up were The Adventures of Tintin. I also liked The Adventures of Asterix and Obelix. I enjoyed reading The Hardy Boys, The Famous Five, and you know, right here, I'm going to give you guys what my top 3 favorite books are. And these books you can actually find in the Musgrave Library. So I actually encourage all of you, if you don't have a library card, go to the library, apply for one, obviously with your parents, apply for a library card, and you can find these 3 books in the Musgrave Library and read them. One of them is Matilda by Roald Dahl. The other is Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney, and the other is Hover Car Racer by Matthew Riley, right? Those are my 5 favorite books. Now, like I said, I started writing off childish ideas. At the age of 10, as you mature, you start writing more mature ideas. So at the age of 10, I wrote a Western novel, which shocked many people that a 10-year-old is writing a Western novel. Nevertheless, as I got older, that's at the age of 17, I believe, is when I came up with the idea of this book, Race Champ. It was during the December 2011 school holidays. I wrote all 3 parts of Race Champ in one go, in 1 month. And when I looked back at it, it was handwritten at the time. I didn't have access to a computer or anything to type it out. I saw how big it was, and I said, no, okay, this is too big. Nobody's going to read this in one go, so let me split it up. So I split it up into 3 parts. So as you can see, even this book, it's very thin. It's digest, so you can actually read it in one go if you wanted to. So yeah, I split it up into 3 parts. The following year, I finished my matric, and then I started working, and I started to invest in myself, get the book typed out, and that's when this long and arduous 8-year journey to get published began. But, eventually I achieved my goal. I did not give up. And in the interim, I even, I self-taught myself how to design websites and logos, create marketing campaigns for various businesses. I have 3 YouTube channels which I run simultaneously for my business and for my personal interests. And now I'm also helping other authors get published. People who are authors, either have a book or don't know how to write a book. I'm assisting them in getting there because I do not want them to go through the same struggles that I did, waiting for 8 long years for someone to pick you up and say, look, I'll go ahead and publish you. Now, as you can see, I'm not boastful, but I am very proud of the achievements that I've accomplished. But I'm not an isolated incident. A lot of us use Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram on a daily basis. Now, the CEO of Berea is the owner of all these things. He himself has gone on record to say he is an avid reader. Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft, who was once the most richest man in the world, said that he read up to 50 books per month. That was while he was on top, while he was the richest man in the world. So it goes to show you that even the richest persons in the world, the most busiest person, no matter how busy they are, they still take the time to read. Because the age-old saying stands true, boys and girls, that readers are leaders. If you commit yourself to reading, there is a 99.9% chance that you are guaranteed to succeed. So, and it goes for anyone, doesn't matter who they are, whether you're Warren Buffett, whether you're the richest man in the world right now, Elon Musk, a man who was born in South Africa and now in the US is the most richest man in the world, creating electric cars under the name of Tesla. He is an avid reader. There was a study that was recently released that revealed that the average CEO reads up to 4 books per week. That equates to 16 books per month and over 200 books per year. So, and like I mentioned earlier, you can borrow up to 8 books from the library at a time. If you can read 4 books this week and 4 books in the second week, you can actually read 4 books every week, return it to the library, get another 8, return it to the library, get another 8. So it's very easy to follow this principle. But the question now remains, before I leave you guys today, the question remains, how can you inculcate this habit and this value of reading in your life? There are 2 ways that I'm going to give you. Now, there are a lot of us here who have a bad habit when we wake up in the morning or when we go to sleep in the evening. And I was once guilty of this, but I learned how to better myself and I improved myself. And I hope that what I impart to you guys today will better you and encourage you to incorporate the habit of reading into your life. What do you do when you wake up in the morning? What is the first thing you do? A lot of people would wake up and the first thing they do is they put on their phones and they're looking through their timelines, aren't they? They're going through Facebook, reacting to memes. Some people will check their messages and then there are some who don't check their messages and they hide their last scene so people will never know that they were online on Facebook. Yeah, well, to those people, more power to them. But anyways, yeah, that's the first a lot of people do. That is not a good habit, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it's bad for your eyesight, and whether you want to believe it or not, it's bad for your health, because you're not giving your immune system and your cortisol enough, because you got to understand your brain is highly connected to the rest of your body. So it now thinks that it's daytime because you've got this extremely bright light blaring in your face early in the morning. That's not a good thing. So what I do is I have a book. Usually it's not my own book, obviously, because I've read my own book. I wouldn't need to do that. It's somebody else's book. It's on my bedside table like that, probably with a bookmark in it from the night before. I pick it up and I read at least 1 or 2 pages. Not too much, because obviously we have busy lives. We have to obviously get on with living. But 1 or 2 pages is sufficient enough to get your body into the rhythm of the day. So, and I know in the winter months you probably need a bedside lamp or candle or lantern of some sort so that you can actually read it. I wake up at 3:30 every single morning, so I do need a bedside lamp, but most people don't usually wake up now in the summer months between 4:30, the sun is already out, so you wouldn't need any artificial light. The second way, and this is, I think, the most efficient way for you to incorporate the value of reading in your life, and that is before you go to bed in the evening. Another thing that a lot of people are guilty of doing is when they go to bed in the night, they turn on their phones and they're on WhatsApp, they're on Facebook until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm waking up, they're going to bed. So what is the best way for you to, I'm not saying don't do it. Obviously, all of us, we're living in a digital age. We cannot avoid WhatsApp, we can't avoid Facebook, we can't avoid emails, we can't avoid any of it. But we can actually reduce our digital screen time and rather have a book. So you can have a book on your bedside table, whether it's a fresh new book or whether it's a book with a bookmark in it that you've read before. Pick it up and read at least 4 to 6 pages or a whole chapter. If the chapters are short, you can read the whole chapter itself. But 4 to 6 pages, if the chapters are long, is sufficient enough. And it doesn't have to be, it can be a fiction book, it can be a non-fiction book, whatever kind of book it is. You can actually read 4 to 6 pages a night and then call it a night. So those are the 2 ways that you can incorporate reading into your life. I hope that, what advice I've given you helps you. And thank you for your time.